Hey, peace with Christ, Pastor Josh here. So excited to be with you, giving you this weekly email announcement, video announcement, whatever you want to call it. But two things for you today. The first is, or the second, we'll talk about in a minute. That's an exciting project, a construction project going on in our building this week. The first, though, I want to talk to you about our council nominations committee just a little bit. So you might have saw it in a trifold that there's a council nominating committee that consists of myself, Dave Himmelberg, Cindy Sandell, Ty Saucerman, and Kevin Hickson. And what they're doing is they're finding people that are willing and able to serve on our council. So we have 5 positions that is turning over, and those people will be elected ultimately by the voters at a November meeting. But the nomination committee, their job is to find people that are suitable to be in that role. And so that's really what we're doing. We're thinking and praying and talking about who would be a good fit for our church council. And I want to tell you maybe just a little bit more about our church council, if you'll let me. The council, and this is straight from our bylaws, we are policy-based governance, which means that we have certain things written down that we follow as a church. Not everything we do is prescripted or told how to do, but there are some certain things that are told us what to do. And so the role of the church council is spelled out pretty clearly in our bylaws. So it says this: the role of the council is to act with strategic leadership without becoming involved in the administration details handled by the senior pastor, that observes PWC's mission and written policy and monitors the senior pastor to ensure that he is achieving the goals aimed at the mission while staying within the policy. So when we talk about policy-based governance, there's certain things that you give me permission to do as a pastor, and you give me the permission and ability to really lead the staff in the day-to-day operations. So there's a lot of decisions that have to be made in day-to-day about what worship looks like, about if we have a trifold or not, about sermon series, about youth group events, about, I could go on and on, all the decisions we make that are really important and vital for our ministry. But those are things that you want, as a church, you want us to make on a staff level. But what council gets to do and what you get to do as voters, you get to put parameters on that. So one of the parameters you have placed on me is that you guys, the membership, they are the ones that set the budget. So I, as a senior pastor, I can't set a budget. And so part of council's role is to oversimplify it, is if I would, let's say, set a budget without the congregation's approval, they would call me out on it. They would say, that's not the way that we operate. And so that's one of the things that they get to do. They get to look at the way that I'm leading the ministry, and does it fall within the policies, the procedures that the church and the council have laid out. But then when they also get to do that, I think is really neat, is they get to look at the overall picture of Peace with Christ. Sometimes when we're in ministry, we get kind of lost in the weeds. And what I mean by that is we live day in and day out in ministry. Like, all of us on staff, we love ministry. We love leading you as a church, but we sometimes get too lost in the details that we miss the whole picture of what's going on. And so one of the roles of council is they get to kind of look at the full picture. Where are we doing well? Where could we do better? Where do we need some work? And so they get to tell us those things and call them out. And then I get to take that back to staff, and we get to work on those things based on what they're seeing and their perception. And so it's a really neat way that we get to operate together as a church, lay people serving on this council, supervising how I lead the staff and how I operate within the policies and procedures of Peace with Christ. And so really we are right now in that process of looking for people to serve on the council. So if you want to put somebody on that list for us to consider to fill one of those spots, let me know. Email me. Email me, let me know, and we will add that person to our thoughts and prayers as we consider who to serve on council. So the last one I'll bring up is an exciting building update. So it's kind of coming out of PwC Next. It's not exactly our first PwC Next project, but it kind of is. And in PwC Next, we've looked at redoing the worship space and gym. And there's going to be more information coming on that. I keep promising, and we are working, I promise. But really the first kind of piece of that that's kind of outside, but kind of a part of it all at the same time, is that we're getting new basketball goals this week. And so what they'll do is those will be actually suspended from the ceiling. We've got a way that they're kind of going to go up and they'll pretty much disappear. If you really look for them, you'll see them, but they'll pretty much disappear kind of up along the top of the ceiling. They'll pretty much blend in. But the value of that is for the last, basically since we opened that gym, we've been pushing around these really big, heavy basketball goals. So essentially they have to go in the closet, come back out of the closet. We've had people get hurt moving them. They're falling apart. They're really not safe anymore. They're not safe to move. They're not safe to use. And so this summer we got rid of them. They're gone. They've left the building. And so we're going to turn to this retractable basketball goal. They'll kind of go up along the ceiling, but then when you want to play, it'll kind of come down. So kind of neat. And I think it'll be a huge blessing for the school. It'll be a safety precaution we're taking. But finally, it's really, I think, a blessing for the church as well. Because every once in a while, there's events where we can't put the basketball goals up because it takes too many people to move them and the people that know how to move them. And so sometimes it's just too much to move them. And now we'll be able to basically put them up and down with basically just turning a key. It's going to be that simple. And so we're really excited about that. So if you're in on Sunday, you'll see them up. You might see them up on the roof. If you look, you may just not even notice they're there, but just know that we're making some progress with making really that worship space, that gym area, the best it can be for everybody that uses it. And really, that space gets used 7 days a week. It takes a lot of use. And so we want to take care of it. We want to make sure it's the best for us to use as members. And it's a great place for our community as well. I just want to thank you again for taking the time to watch this, for keeping update on what's going on at Peace with Christ. I am really happy to be your pastor and happy to be involved in ministry with you and excited about reaching one more in Christ. You guys have a great day. God bless.